Hi guys, welcome back to another Git tutorial. I hope you found everything very informative and enjoyable so far. I have devoted precious time to explain everything thoroughly and give you a quite comprehensive view of what are Git's main strengths and uses. Right, so today I'd like to teach you a bunch of techniques that would virtually allow you to become more proficient with Git. For starters, I'll show you how to amend commits or to modify commits that have not yet been pushed to Git. And afterwards, I'll show you how to check out an older version of a file. So if you have no idea what GitHub is, don't worry, we'll address that in a later video. And now let's proceed to it. Let's go to the root directory. Let's run a git status. As you can see, our working directory is clean. Now let's run a git log one line. This essentially will show us the commit history with each commit in one line. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, our last commit was when I added a new file.txt. Don't worry if this is not similar to your commit history, because it might be a different, as I tampered with it in the meantime. So let's suppose that we forgot to stage and commit another file alongside this new file.txt. What do we do? Well, we have two options. Either commit that file separately, but here the only downside is that if your project becomes large enough, your commit history list will be quite comprehensive. So that might not always be optimal to do a commit for each change we make. And because this can lead to a very large commit history. And this leads us to our second option. Option number two, to amend or modify the last commit to include the forgotten file. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. And for that, I'll need to create another file, stage it, and amend the last commit to include this new file in it. Right, so let's go ahead and create a new file. Sublime, let's say forgotten.txt. So the file will open up in Sublime Text. I'll save it and close Sublime Text. Let's run NLS. The file has been successfully saved here, right? Let's run a git status command. As you can see, the file lies now in the working the directory under the untracked file headings. So let's go ahead and stage it, add forgotten, right? And let's run a git status command. And as you can see here, the file is now staged and is waiting to be committed. So let's not create another commit, and let's amend this previous commit to encompass the forgotten.txt file. Right, so let's go ahead and type in git commit -- amend -m, and after the -- amend option, the command is simply as a normal commit command. So -m, and here you can add the commit message. So adding new file.txt as up here, and forgotten.txt to the repository, let's say. Right, let's go ahead and press enter. Let's run a git status. Our working directory is clean. Let me clear the screen, and let's run a git log one line. And as you can see, our forgotten.txt file has been added inside our last snapshot, and of course the message is similar to the message we provided. So let me just say that the git commit -- amend command is just a convenient way to fix up the most recent commit. So it virtually lets you combine stage changes to the previous commit instead of committing it as an entirely new snapshot. You can also use this command to simply edit the previous commit message without changing the snapshot. So basically, let's go ahead and do that. Let me say, let me delete to the repository from here, and let's press enter. Let's run a git log online again, and as you can see, the message has been changed. Right, so please remember, either you amend the previous commit to include other stage changes, or you use the -- amend option in a similar way, just to edit the previous commit message. Right, so now suppose you want to get back a previous version of a file. Right, so for that you simply type in git checkout and commit ID, and let's say file name. Right, so we have used the checkout command before. If you don't remember what it does, let me just mention that it's used for three main functions: checking out files, checking out commits, and checking out branches. Don't worry about branches, we'll address branches in a later video. And if you write it like I have here, right, it will check out the version of this file from this commit ID, and this will affect the current state of the project. In other words, it will bring the state of that file, called file name in this case, from this past snapshot represented by this commit to the present. And after you run this command, the old file version will show up as a change to be committed, or under a change to be committed heading, which means that the file will be staged, and thus giving you the opportunity to either revert back to the previous version of the file by staging and committing this change such that you have access to that file state in the present, or if you decide that you don't want to keep this old version, you can simply check out the most recent version with the git checkout head and the file name command. So if you remember from a previous video, I did show you how to check out changes with this command. So I'll not linger on it. Right, so let me go back here. So it's git checkout and commit ID and file name. Right, so basically this command is useful in cases when you want to get an older version of the file, because maybe the new version contains a bug or is no longer needed. And yeah, let's go ahead and demonstrate this visually by running an ls. Right, so we have repo.txt here. Let's run a git log with one line. And if I remember correctly, repo.txt was the first file we created, and it should lie in our first commit. Right, so let's go ahead and get that file version back. But for that, let's modify the current one. So sublime repo.txt. Let's say I'm adding an extra change here. Save this. Let's add it to the staging area. Right, and now let's commit that changing repo.txt. Right, so let's go ahead and see. As you can see, repo.txt has been modified with our line, and it has been added to the repository. Right, but we decided that this change is buggy and we want to revert back to a previous version of the file, and that previous version is given. I mean, you can see that using git log one line, and you could give the name of the file as an extra parameter. And as you can see, the the repo.txt command is mentioned in two snapshots. The first snapshot when we created the file, and the second snapshot, or the last one in our case, when we have modified the file. And suppose in this case we want to revert back to our first snapshot, our previous snapshot, because let's say the line we included in repo.txt is buggy, or we no longer desire that feature. Right, so let's run a git status. As you can see, our working directory is clean. Now let's create the screen and let me run it again just to have the commit ID here. And now let's run git checkout, and now we have to give it this commit ID, git checkout, the commit ID, and then the name of the file, which basically tells Git, please give me the file repo.txt from this commit ID, or in other words, please bring back repo.txt from this snapshot or this commit ID. Right, so let's go ahead and run it. Let's run a git status command, and as you can see, repo.txt is now seen as modified and it's under the changes to be committed heading, which means it lies in the staging area waiting to be committed. Right, so let's go ahead and commit this git commit -m, and let's say bringing back repo.txt from first commit, or from previous version. Right, so let's run a git status. Working directory is clean. Let's open up repo.txt, and as you can see, repo.txt is now empty or blank, and it was like this when we first created it. Right, let's exit this. Well, that's it for today. The commands that I've shown you are git commit -- amend command, and also git checkout commit ID and file name. Use them wisely, and I am sure they will make you a better Git user. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Keep climbing the learning ladder. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.